Gender stratification is basically a society's tendency to form a gender into a master status. By itself, stratification refers to the geological layering of rocks subsuming the Earth's surface. When I thought of what a master status earlier in the semester meant, I got the basic gist. That is, it's a social status which can essentially be seen as an individual's base status. It falls under everything else.
Looking at racial stratification, but basically the idea is the same. It just had a little bit more categories, so it made it easier to show. So yeah, there could even probably be more than that, but anyways, it's a much bigger list than the male-female list. So basically the way I had seen it was, these are all master classes, which basically saying that, they're kind of equivalent. You've got all these different master classes, and everybody's defined by them, and they all sort of fit into the group, the niche, or the category that we refer to as a master class, master status. Excuse me. Race is a master status. But what I failed to recognize in this model is that what this really does is kind of creates an image of them all being something equivalent.
Which is true in reality, but in terms of societal perception, there is a great deal of inequity among master statuses.
What I really started to realize what stratification really is implying as far as how these things affect us, how a master status affects us. I just wanted to real quick discuss this idea of the master status, because I think that the idea of the master status is fundamental. It's at the core of what is stratification of any type. And so basically, you see, just like the way that the earth is layered, the topsoil is not next to the deepest layer or any other layer. They're distantly separated by the fact that they're in isolated layers. And that's a much more sensible way of looking at stratification. You can see that you have a stack of all these different types or subcategories. And when you stack them like that, what these arrows here are representing is the pressure. At the top, the very top group has only the pressure of the atmosphere pushing down on it. But at the very bottom group, that unit has the pressure of all the other groups weighing down.
So gender stratification doesn't just develop a master status, and a master status doesn't necessarily just keep everybody on an even keel. Master status often leaves somebody on top and somebody on the bottom. Somebody's looked down on for their master status, which is created through stratification. Often we find that someone is the lesser according to the societal norms. As unacceptable and as untrue as we all know that to be, it still happens daily. These things aren't really a fair ground for judgment. They really don't deserve the power that we as a society give them. But we as a society do give them that power.
So who's affected by gender stratification? Everyone. Everyone with a gender, and that's all of us. We know what it is. Where? It's everywhere. It's in the workplace, when a woman gets paid less to do the same work as a man, or when a man is made fun of for being dumb when really he's made the same mistake that anybody could make. Why does it happen? Because we allow it to happen. Because our media propagates these ideals.
It can promote either a positive or a negative master status. The effects that gender stratification can have on a particular gender group can hurt or help that group, depending on how it's developed and what it says about that group. Gender stratification is society's way of defining gender as a master status. It's the means by which we develop the definition of that master status, whether male and the husband is a dunce, or the female is thought of as someone whose only purpose is to keep the house clean and feed the children. In any case, whether it's positive or negative, gender stratification is how we define the master status as attached to the gender roles in our society. Gender stratification, as well as the master status defined by gender, is always in flux. That is to say, it's always changing. Gender stratification is a constant process, and the process doesn't change. The means by which the process is accomplished doesn't really change. I mean, media takes on new roles and new means of which accomplishing these things, but essentially, the process of gender stratification hasn't changed over the years. How we do it hasn't really changed at a fundamental level. But what we're doing with it is always changing. Gender roles are changing. The master status defined by gender role always carries a new connotation with every new generation, and even within generations, with every passing year, with every passing day, we as a society grow and change continuously, and we're always being stratified or layered or arranged according to our gender. It's a part of what defines who we are, but how we read that definition is always different from one generation to the next. And within our own generation, we've already seen it change several times, and we'll continue to see it change throughout the existence of mankind as a species. So I know I can tend to be long-winded, not just in this, but also in my discussion board topics. It's just who I am. I can't get away from it, and I try to strive for brevity in all things that I do. And it's just not my thing. So I thank you for bearing with me, not just through this presentation, but through the semester. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun working with you guys. I hope that this was in some way, shape, or form informative and perhaps help to deepen your understanding of gender stratification. Thank you.